Good morning, everyone. This is a medication commonly used to treat people with breathing problems, but liquid albuterol is in short supply, and the shortage is expected to get even worse. Mandy Gaither explains what led to the shortage and what health experts say you need to know if you cannot get the medicine.
It's a potentially life-saving drug that's been on the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's shortages list since October, and the liquid albuterol scarcity is expected to get worse after a major supplier to U.S. hospitals recently shut down.
We want to make sure that everyone is prepared and that we get ahead of this problem before it becomes disastrous for so many people.
Products from the one remaining major domestic source of liquid albuterol are on back order. Different areas are experiencing different supply issues. At Nationwide Children's Hospital in Ohio, their stock will depend on demand over the next couple of weeks.
We continue to receive shipments periodically, somewhat unexpectedly, but ultimately it's something that we are continuing to monitor to make sure that we have the drug that is needed for our patients.
Allergist Juanita Mora with the American Lung Association is advising her patients to make sure their albuterol inhaler is on hand and not expired. She says anyone who can't find the liquid form of the medicine can use the inhaler instead. Right now, albuterol inhalers don't seem to be impacted by the shortage.
It works just as well at opening up the lungs, especially when there's wheezing, shortness of breath, cough, or inflammation of the airways.
Mora says not to panic. Supply priority will be given to hospitals to treat those experiencing emergencies.
If you already have albuterol in liquid form at home, there's no need to rush and get more.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And the allergist says there are also other medications that can help. She says talk to your doctor about the options that are right for you. Well, and Adderall, which is used to treat ADHD, is also in short supply, leaving people scrambling and struggling. Meg Oliver takes a look at what families can do.
What does the sheep say?
She say bye.
Emmy Weed is juggling caring for her two youngest sons while she works from home in Huntsville, Alabama. She's also struggling to find Adderall.
And my brain feels like a jumbled mess of an inability to prioritize what I need to do. It's like a to-do list with no number on it.
She, her husband, and their teenage son Leo all take Adderall to treat their ADHD.
How is he struggling?
He's struggling with the impulse control, the doing flips on the bus, the getting in trouble. He's struggling with wanting to do things like you would see in regular depression, go out with his friends, be interested, clean his room, interact with his siblings.
The FDA announced a shortage of the active ingredients in the drug Adderall in its generic form last October. The agency told CBS News it is working closely with manufacturers and others in the supply chain to mitigate and prevent or reduce the impact.
Any idea why this is happening?
There's increased demand for these stimulant medications. That happened during the COVID pandemic. And it also became easier to get prescription medications because of the introduction of telemedicine and telepsychiatry.
Prescriptions for Adderall have risen almost 35% in the last 4 years. More than 40 million people received monthly prescriptions in 2022.
I have so many questions about
Families like the Wheats are rationing their supply.
I think everyone wants to take their medication how it's directed, but we're being put into a position where it's very difficult to do that. So what do we do?
With the drug shortage expected to last until at least April, experts advise patients consult with their provider on alternative treatments. Meg Oliver, CBS News, Hackensack, New Jersey.
Well, you've probably heard of meatless Mondays. There's even a trend called vegan before 6. More consumers are making food choices with sustainability in mind, and more companies are taking the carbon footprint cue. Michael George introduces us to one climate-conscious eater who coined his own term for reducing meat consumption.
Brian Cateman's typical lunch is completely different than what he used to eat.
I am making a lentil mushroom soup.
He largely cut out meat after learning how damaging it is for the environment. Nearly 15% of all greenhouse emissions come from meat production.
It takes a lot of resources. You think of the land, you think of the water, you think all the food you have to feed to the animals.
Cateman turned his own curiosity about eating less meat into a documentary and coined the term reducitarian, meaning cutting back, not cutting out.
I think it's a more tolerable idea to cut back rather than necessarily go vegan or vegetarian.
The food production industry is paying attention to these trends, trying to latch on to younger customers.
It's a competitive advantage for companies to be seen as at the forefront of doing something about climate change.
While there's no single standard for carbon footprint labeling, some restaurant chains are touting their efforts right on their menus. Panera identifies its low-carbon entrees with a cool food meal symbol, and Just Salad offers a climatarian filter on its app.
There's going to be more carbon footprint labeling on food, and I think it's going to be a factor in how consumers make choices about what to eat.
For Cateman, it starts with a swap.
I eat the same foods that I love, but I just swap in plant-based ingredients.
Making the idea of eating less meat a lot easier to digest. Michael George, CBS News, Chatham, New Jersey.
Now, a 2022 Earth Day report from the consulting firm Kearney found that 80% of consumers had some awareness of the connection between food choice and the environment. The report anticipates by the year 2030, routine food choices will be climate directed. A new study out of Britain is creating quite the buzz, with scientists touting the brilliance of bumblebees. Ian Lee is in London with a story you have to see to believe.
New research suggests there's more to the humble bumblebee than meets the eye.
We've missed some really fascinating capabilities found among even tiny invertebrates. They have brains the size of a pinhead, yet they're still able to produce this behavior.
If a wise man learns from the mistakes of others, these are some brainy bees. Scientists at Queen Mary University in London trained a bumblebee to push a red tab on a wheel to reach a sugary treat. Other bees watched and quickly copied the skill using the same method 98% of the time.
What this created was like a trend, a fashion trend, or in animal behavior terms, a tradition.
And researchers now believe there could be even more instinctive insects in the animal kingdom.
I think it shows that we're not alone on the planet, that there are kinds of alien civilizations right around us.
But at least for now we know that for busy bees, it's about working smarter, not harder. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
And researchers say their findings suggest bees could be as intelligent as birds or primates. Well, the world's first bee vaccine could help save the threatened honeybee population and, in turn, much of our food supply. We rely on these essential insects to pollinate crops. Ben Tracy shows us what the buzz is all about.
I can hear them buzzing around us.
Yeah, they're busy at work.
Brian Ashurst runs the Ashurst Bee Company. He's a fourth-generation beekeeper.
We run about 27,000 colonies.
His bees are part of one of the largest pollination events on the planet. California produces more than 80% of the world's almonds, and each blossom is pollinated by a bee.
We do broccoli, we do avocados, we do watermelons, we do onion seed, we do carrot seed.
Bees pollinate 1/3 of the food grown in the United States, essential to producing an estimated $15 billion worth of crops annually. But bee colonies are collapsing due to disease, parasites, pesticides, and even climate change-fueled droughts, which dry up the water and flowers they need to survive.
They're just decimated. Sometimes 50%. I've heard guys losing 70%.
So we're constantly trying to figure out how can we reduce these losses.
Jörg Meyer is a professor of zoological medicine at the University of Georgia. He constantly inspects these to make sure there are no signs of diseases, like the dreaded American foul brood.
It's a bacterial disease, and what happens after a few days, it's so bad that those little developing bees, the brood, dies, and they die and it smells really foul.
It's so bad the government requires infected hives and all beekeeping equipment to be burned and buried. There is no cure for the disease, and until now, no vaccine to prevent it.
We were the first ones to do this.
Annette Kleiser is CEO of Dahlon Animal Health, which partnered with the University of Georgia to develop the world's first honeybee vaccine. Unlike humans and animals, insects don't create antibodies, so scientists have long thought vaccines simply won't work. But in the lab, they discovered bees have a primitive immune system, and exposing a queen bee to some of the dead bacteria through her food created immunity in the hive.
I mean, it's like magic. You vaccinate the queen and she passes it onto the millions of offspring that make the colony.
So far, they have not seen any side effects or impacts on food products such as honey. The hope is this breakthrough will pave the way for other vaccines to control all sorts of harmful viruses and pests.
Are you willing to give this vaccine to your bees?
Yeah, I'm willing to try it out. I think because we're all looking for answers for things, we're willing to try things out.
Because the one thing we do know is that without bees, these fields would be a lot less fertile. I'm Ben Tracy in California's Central Valley.
Well, there's a classic song that says you can always go downtown. So where are the people and who wants to bring them back downtown? That story next on Mid-Morning. Over the past 3 years, the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted nearly every aspect of American life, including how and where people work. The ripple effect has been felt in many business districts across the country. Carter Evans shows us how cities are working to hopefully revitalize their downtown.
Even though the doors are open again at this location of the famous Pierogi Bakery in Seattle, business is still down 85%.
We only have 2 employees now versus having 15, 16 in 2019. We're losing money every month.
When we first met owner Olga Sagan last fall, sales were so bad she had to close 3 stores.
What happened to business downtown?
It disappeared.
What about all those corporate workers that used to be your customers?
They're at home in suburbs.
Even Seattle's mayor admitted downtown was changing.
It'll never be the good old days where everyone is downtown working.
It's happening across the country. A new Berkeley study analyzes cell phone GPS data to track activity and rank the economic recovery of 62 North American cities. San Diego's near the top of the list with plenty of housing and entertainment, but Seattle is near the bottom, along with San Francisco, which lost about 150,000 office workers.
A lot of these professional services don't have to be face-to-face. They have no reason to come back.
Study author Karen Chappell says skyrocketing housing prices are also a problem.
You want people downtown 24/7, maybe put some more affordable housing in downtown areas.
So Seattle's now considering modifying zoning so unused offices can be turned into apartments.
So thinking of it more as a neighborhood, it's got to be one of our strategies.
Markham McIntyre is Seattle's Director of Economic Development.
When I spoke to business owners when I was there, one of their main concerns was crime downtown.
The public safety issues are real. We've got to make sure that people feel safe coming downtown, being downtown.
Behind you.
But Seattle business owners are still waiting for the downtown rebound.
The changes are coming and we're seeing them little by little.
Carter Evans, CBS News, Seattle.
Well, parents need an extra set of hands and eyes. That's what one hospital is providing. That story next on Mid-Morning. All right, welcome back. Being the parent of a newborn is stressful, even when there are no medical complications. But for those families with newborns in the neonatal intensive care unit, the stress is really unimaginable. But as our Allie Martin reports, the NICU at North Mississippi Medical Center's Women's Hospital has a new camera system that lets parents keep track of their newborn 24/7.
A young dad of triplets told those gathered in the courtyard of the Women's Hospital the agony of being separated from his newborns when they spent an extended period in the NICU.
We couldn't be in 2 places at once at that time, but that changes today with this technology.
That technology is called Angel Eye. It is a camera system that brings live streaming video of the newborn to family members anywhere, anytime, on any device through the Angel Eye app.
I think it really helps our families, especially when they have to go back to work and can't be present at the bedside as much as they would like to. They can log in and see the baby anytime they would like to.
It has also helped staff connect better with patient families.
They can send messages, pictures, videos of the babies to the families and just help that mom feel more comfortable while she's away. She can get that information that she couldn't normally get until she make a phone call to us. And now she gets a notification on her phone. We left her a message. She has a video or a picture of her baby.
The $300,000 for the Angel Eye cameras was provided by the community. It was part of a fundraising effort coordinated by the Healthcare Foundation of North Mississippi, and all the money was pledged within 60 days.
52 donors, they were personal and also corporate gifts. We wrote a couple of grants, and again, just a tremendous outcome.
Toyota, Mississippi was one of the corporate donors.
To be able to partner with the Healthcare Foundation and these other community organizations for this Hey Baby technology is huge for us. It eliminates that mobility barrier between these new mothers and new families who have a day-to-day struggle to be able to visit their infants who end up in the NICU.
39 Angel Eye camera systems have been in place since mid-January. Telling your story in Tupelo, Allie Martin, WCBI News.
And each Angel Eye system costs around $5,000. All right, people still go there. People still rent movies. We'll show you what may be the last video store next on Mid Morning. Well, fans and athletes aren't the only ones using golf as a way to make them smile. So are the patients with Parkinson's disease at a Jacksonville, Florida hospital. Take a look.
This is Dr. Heather Barksdale, a neurophysical therapist, Sarah Young, an orthopedic specialist, and Dr. Joseph Legacy, a neurologist. Together, they are the dream team at UF Health Jacksonville, operating a 6-week rehab plan called the Golf and Mobility Program. It helps patients who have been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. It's a mobility disorder with symptoms ranging from tremors, stiff muscle movement, and impaired balance.
Lack of arm swing, difficulty with trunk rotation, and a lot of those things we actually work on specifically with golf program.
Movement is a way to combat what is coming down the pipe with Parkinson's. There's currently not a cure.
Dr. Heather tells me that when her patients are golfing, they can keep track of their progress by simply taking a swing and then taking a look back right over there at that black box. It's called the Golf Power Meter. It measures your swing, speed, and angle. That helps Barksdale, Young, and Legacy determine how a patient's mobility is declining or progressing. Parkinson's does not have a cure, but there are ways to slow its progression.
Golf is a rehab tool to help these people to help with the common symptoms that they experience: tremor, slowness of movement, moving stiffer.
The Golf and Mobility Program was Dr. Barksdale's idea, but she credits Dr. Legacy and Young for its development because they are both collegiate golfers. The program is only a few months old and has already helped 3 patients with Parkinson's disease. One day, the trio hopes to incorporate boxing in the mix since it's helpful with swing and rotation. For local coverage you can count on in Spring Glen, Princess Janae Steverson, Action News Jax.
Well, the NCAA basketball tournament tips off next week, but there's one player who is already an MVP, most valued person. CBS's Nancy Chen has his amazing story.
Alley-oop, what a start!
Cliff Amori is known for his powerhouse dunks. But the Rutgers University junior only started playing basketball at 14, just before his family in Nigeria sent him to New Jersey.
It was just like to get a better education.
Amori moved in with Muhammad Oliver, a volunteer with the basketball program at the Salvation Army Center in Newark.
The first time you took him out to play basketball, what did you think?
Am I being honest there?
Oh, yeah.
He had a lot of work. We had to basically start from scratch.
Oliver was not only Amori's legal guardian, but also a motivator.
I almost gave up on basketball. Like, he gave me the belief that I could be what I want to be if I just keep working.
That work ethic applied off the court, too.
Because of Cliff, my son improved academically tremendously. He saw Cliff, how he handled basketball and books.
He was a role model.
100%. A great role model, actually.
As one of the best players in the Big Ten Conference, Amori earned $25,000 from endorsements, money he donated to revitalize the court where it all began, honoring his mentor.
He's changed your life.
Yeah. I think he's changed our life as well, too, though.
A powerful athlete on college basketball's biggest stage. Nancy Chen, CBS News, Newark.
Well, it is the last of its kind, a home-owned video store that opened long before Blockbuster and kept its doors open longer still. Now a small-town video store says it's time to roll their ending credits. Mary Olmos shows us how the people who work there and their customers kept it alive for so long.
You know, we got the dramas here. There's plenty of great dramas.
Troy Raichi can give a review about most of the movies on these shelves.
Rain Man is a great one that I can always watch.
That's because he's called Video Universe in Robbinsdale home for 29 years.
I started when I was 15, actually, and first job.
He didn't intend to work here this long, but there was something special about this place he couldn't let go of.
You know, the business world was always going to be there after, but this job wasn't. And So I continue to ride the wave.
It's instant nostalgia when you walk in here, from the classics on the shelves to the candy that has never been touched by inflation.
I guess this is about the last of the dinosaurs here.
But after about 40 years in business, the owner is ready to retire, and Troy is anxious to start his second job.
It'll make me sad that the next generation won't see what a video store is like.
Unless parents enlighten their kids before this place closes.
My dad would just come here sometimes to get movies that we couldn't get on streaming or anything.
Henrik and Sylvia Seawalson were lucky enough to learn about these ancient artifacts. Apparently, an appreciation for a video store can be passed down.
It's so awesome to just go here sometimes and just see all the old movies from, when we were not even born.
In Robbinsdale, Marielle Mose, WCCO 4 News.
So do you feel old yet? We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, so be sure you stay connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you back here next time.